Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are. My name is Katie O. Welcome back to my living room, and this is another Astrology Peephole for today, the 12th of July, 2021, here on Moon Mama Musings. Now, before I start, I just wanted to add a little bit of a disclaimer. I've never felt the need to explain it on this video, but I think I need to now, is I want you guys to know that I'm dealing mostly with intuitive astrology. Yeah, as I have learned a lot about the basis of like what each planet represents and what each house represents and all of that stuff. But a lot of this is my intuition that tells me what is relevant for you guys to know, yeah? Even my methods of collecting the information that I use in these peoples, they are very intuitively guided. So I want you to know that if what I tell you about the astrology doesn't necessarily align with what your regular astrologer says, don't be surprised, because like I said, I am intuitively hitting on these astrology points for you guys. Anyway, let's get on here. So we have the waxing crescent moon in the sign of Leo, and I'd like to note that there is a serious and important opposition right now. There is like a relativistic sort of thing that they're pointing out, yeah, is that the moon is in the sign of Leo, okay? The moon, a very watery energy, but femininity, yeah? In the sign of Leo, which is the very sun-oriented masculine card, yeah, of fire. Sun, fire, masculinity, all of that stuff together. It's a very contradictory thing. All right, so it's like literally a couple trading clothes is almost the idea, because also the sun is in the sign of Cancer. Yeah, the fiery sun, all about masculinity, is in the sign of Cancer, which is a very feminine sign, and it's represented by the moon. And it's a watery sign. So we have a lot of opposition right now, and I feel like it is very, very, very important. This is a crucial moon phase right now, and it's going to be bringing up a lot of uncertain change, all right? So the imagery that I got, actually first, we need to talk about, okay, we're going to talk about it. This is probably going to be a long one, guys, so I hope you got some time. I hope you have a coffee. I hope you have a glass of water. If not, pause this, go pee, because let's talk, okay? Also, the light is doing weird things, but I'm not sure how to fix it, because unfortunately today, I don't know if I can I carry on? It's really driving me nuts. Let me see if I can, yeah, okay, I'm going to do that annoying thing where I have to, like, reposition things, and maybe it makes it better. Does that make it better? What if I click on my face here? Yeah, maybe that's better? We'll try. All right. All right, so today, 12th of July, 2021, Mercury has transited to the sign of Cancer. All right, so Cancer is a very beautiful, nurturing, feminine water sign. And it's a stark contrast to the very intellectual, very witty, very airy Gemini, which it's just come from, okay? Gemini is the home of Mercury. It's a sign that is ruled by the planet of Mercury. They have a very beautiful relationship. They are very, very similar. But we have to keep in mind that this year's transit of Mercury through the sign of, or this particular transit of Mercury through the sign of Gemini has been difficult, because it spent the majority of its time in retrograde while it was in its own home sign. Which isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's not super comfortable for it, yeah? In any case, what's happening now is by it going over into the sign of Cancer, it's like it's a softening, yeah? It's put on a new face for a little while it was in retrograde in the home sign of Gemini, and it put on this new vision of itself of where it wanted to go onto its face, and it paraded around for the majority of the month, or majority of this sign transit, the majority of Cancer season, basically. And it paraded around to see how it would be received by its peers. Well, now it's changed. Yeah, Mercury has been reinvented, and now it's like beautifully new, innovative, witty, intellectual, sharp, clever, and productive. Generally better and more suited to where we want to go. Now that it's going into the sign of Cancer, it's a certain softening. Yeah, it's a softening of this. It's a softening of the edges, I'm hearing. It's like taking, it's polishing, right? It's like we've excavated the gem. Yeah, we've excavated the mineral deposit, but it's not worth anything unless we cut it and polish it and hone it down into the beautiful diamond that it is. So I'm also getting this imagery of, like, what was the movie that I watched yesterday? I can't remember which movie it was. It was a Studio Ghibli. I think it's called The Whispers of the Heart. Anyway, they talk about this geode, yeah, and this man gives the little girl this geode, and it's a black stone with these like green emerald deposits in it, right? And she's like, "Well, aren't the emeralds worth a lot of money?" And he goes, "Yeah, but you have to cut them apart and take them, like hone them in, right? And this geode, right, it has many deposits, but this big one here, this really big one, is probably worth a lot less than should we break open the rock continuously breaking open the rock, looking for the smallest shards as possible, because the smaller the shards are, the more valuable they are." It's that same kind of deal, but it's a softening and veering towards the nurturing aspect of this new state of communication. Realizing that, yeah, we need to have an airy energy with the state of our communication, that we need to be authentic, we need to be tenacious, but there's a way that we can soften it and further hone it towards working better in our favor for the things that we want in our life. Yeah. It's communication from the heart. In Gemini, it's all about the swords. Yeah. It's all about the intellect. It's all about, we've talked about a lot about the balance of the head and the heart. So when Mercury is in Gemini, it's all the head-based, intellectual, analytical, like you've done your research, you've been through all the steps, you've taken all the courses, you've gotten all the commemorations and the trophies and the diplomas you needed to get to the place that you are with regards to this communication. But when it moves into the sign of Cancer, it's far more heart-based. It's far more, it's like the idea of, yeah, okay, you can go to school for many years, all the way up into university, you can get yourself your PhD, and you will get success from it, yeah? But what somebody who doesn't go to school at all can have an equal, like, it's not the same kind of success, right? But they can still be successful people. Look at, is it Elon Musk? I can't even remember who it is, but these like entrepreneurial guys who maybe only have high school education and somehow managed to become these like extreme tycoons in their fields, yeah? Just because, like, it's that idea of there's more than one way to get to Rome, and it depends on who you are, which is the one that's going to fit. And sometimes you just need to throw away the idea of comparing yourself to other people, right? And sometimes Gemini can be very comparative. It's the twins, right? It's like looking at one thing in two different representations. It is comparative, yeah? It's the idea of a twin, right? It's two people that look exactly the same, but that are very two different individuals. But in Cancer, the 6 and 9 they look exactly the same and they flow together. Yeah. So whereas Gemini gives us this comparative aspect of our communication, Cancer gives us more of a flowing nature to our communication, which I really, really, really love. So the idea that I got, and this is something that they've been channeling to me for a little while, again, intuitive astrology. They told me that there was something important about Cancer season. That Cancer season this year, because the first one in the sign in the age of the Aquarius, we're going to experience more than ever the actual dualistic nature of the Cancer sign. When you think about the symbol, right, the 6 and 69 on its side, is that there's two parts of this, and it's like a line through the middle. We've really reached that threshold where we're crossing the line. We're in the Bardo. We're crossing the line from the shadow representation of the sign of Cancer to the lighter representation of the sign of Cancer, yeah? Maybe we've had to sit a little bit in our feminine energy at the beginning of the month, but now we need to move closer to our masculine energy, or vice versa. I'll be honest, it depends on you. It's not the same for everybody in this circuit. Some of you know that you've been sitting more in your masculinity, and some of you know you've been sitting more in your femininity. Well, whichever one you've been sitting in, the end of this month, the end of this Cancer season, is going to show you the other side of the coin now. It's about supposing. It's like, I was just joking with my friend Janelle about how I'm gonna I'm stepping into my Peter Griffin energy, where he goes and has his segment on the news about what really grinds his gears. This is gonna be supposing with Katie, all right? We are gonna suppose a different timeline than the one we're in, yeah? So like, for example, if you are in the timeline right now where you are very happy in your career and you are moving forward with this career and you see it going on for a long time, okay? All right, in this edition of Supposing with Katie, we're going to suppose the complete opposite. Suppose you're living in a timeline where your career is completely in shambles, you don't have a job, and you know where you need to get, the goals that you have, but you have no idea how you're going to get there, and you don't have the means to get there. How would you feel if you lived in that reality? And what would the reality that you're currently living in, if the person you are now could speak to that person living in that reality, what advice would they give them? And vice versa, what would that person tell you? Yeah? It's all about the kind of considering the opposite, right? Communication from the heart. Anyway, the imagery that I got with this, and I really, really wanted to talk to you guys about this, is obviously I know this is a long one, right? The sign of Cancer is represented by the animal, the crab. And whereas at the beginning of this sign, or at the beginning of the Cancer season, we were looking at the crab's shifty, skirty, I'm going to move sideways around things that I don't necessarily want to look at, is the rest of this Cancer season, we are looking at a completely opposite sense of what the crabs do. This crab that we want to look at now is the one that molts. Have you ever seen a crab molting its shell? Very interesting. I watched a video on it and it's really cool. So basically what the crab does is when its body becomes too big for the shell that it currently lives in, it starts to like do this little dance, which permits seawater to come into its shell, separating the new shell that it's built a base of from its old shell that no longer fits it. And as it does this little dance, the seawater comes in, and when it's ready, it creates this crack where the shell opens up and the crab, which has now grown in size, literally, it's like it shivers like this out of its old shell. It sheds its skin like a snake does, but in this like very shivery way, yeah? So a crab always carries its home on its back, yeah? That's why Cancer season is about the sense of home. It's where do you belong, yeah? It's about figuring out that you carry everything that makes you belong on your back all the time, yeah? But the thing is that when you shed something old that doesn't fit you anymore, an old sense of home, an old Cancer energy, the skirting around things, representation of Cancer. When you shed the old shell, you come out vulnerable. That new crab is soft and weak in other places where that old shell was strong. But again, it's like outgrowing that old pair of shoes like we talked about a few days ago. Is that shell no longer fit that crab anymore? He had to let go of it. And yes, it involves him being a little bit vulnerable right now. But that's only for a few weeks. And he knows how to, again, because he learned about skirting around things before he shed his shell, right? He learned how to effectively skirt around things. Doing it when you need to. Putting boundaries where you need to with regards to where you belong and what your sense of homes is. So now you can use that skirting energy when it's appropriate. After you've molted a shell that you don't need anymore, that you're outgrown, when you're vulnerable and soft and your shell can't protect you the way that it normally has, when you're learning how to utilize your new shell and solidifying the fact that it is a shell and it's not just a soft membrane holding your goop inside of you. It's really interesting. In any case, I urge you to go look at the video of the crab molting its shell. It's really interesting. Okay, let's talk about the aspects now. Sorry, friends. All right. So I also, again, I want to point out, like I said earlier, this is intuitive astrology. I'm doing the intuitive hits about what I think you guys should know about these things. And they often present certain aspects over the course of several days in different ways. So they're presenting something that I talked about in my IGTV video, my live yesterday about the moon transit to Leo. Also Leo, Lionsgate. They're telling me to tell you that, Lionsgate. Remember. They are presenting what I talked about before as the Venus and Mars in conjunction in a different way, because they're also conjunction with the moon, right? So the way they want us to look at it today on the 12th, right, is we're looking at things from both sides. Suppose I'm with Katie. The moon is conjunct Mars and it is conjunct Venus. This is how we want to look at it right now. Okay, conjunction is the invasion of the body snatchers. The moon is allowing the energies of Venus and Mars to equally take over the subconscious, okay? Xena and Achilles are both talking to the moon and giving them their important advice and saying, sit back, relax, we're going to take care of this, all right? Our subconscious, our emotional body is being just taken over at this moment by our Mars and our Venus in Leo, that beautiful meeting of this emperor and the empress. Yeah, it's gorgeous stuff, all right? They're literally in our medieval saga, Venus and Mars are saying, sit back, relax, let us handle this. Let us handle the king. Okay, let us handle the king. And she's going, but you don't know. And they go, it's okay. Let us handle this. Sit back and relax. It's our turn. No, it's our turn. This is like, and remember, I wanted to talk to you guys about the moon and the sun being represented as the High Priestess and the Hierophant, which can be represented as, in fact, like the divine aspects of our masculinity and our femininity. This is almost our 3D purposeful human self going, okay, ethers, okay, spirit, okay, subconscious, okay, emotions, stop. Let us do something in the real world to contribute to what's happening to us now. Okay. Meanwhile, the moon is in opposition with Saturn. And opposition is a tug of war, right? So the new head of Saturn is pushing and pulling against the queen. And what I'm getting is our subconscious is still struggling to fully adopt the new karma we've invited in, whether this be, and this is whatever it's dishing it out to you. Remember, karma is reap what you sow, right? You could be experiencing some difficult karma right now. You could be experiencing some really beautiful karma right now. You could be experiencing both. But either way, you have this new vision of what Saturn is, and your subconscious is having this hard time getting rid of the ghost limb, right? It's that idea I mentioned. I introduced this concept the other day of like, if you were to amputate your arm, it would take a few months before your nerves got used to not telling you, hey, look, I've got you. There was an arm here. Remember that arm? Here it is. Yeah. It's that idea. So yeah, it's a little bit difficult on our subconscious right now. We're having a hard time integrating, but we are doing it, right? We're doing the work. It's just taking some time, right? Okay. And the last but not least, we have the moon making a square with Uranus. All right. Challenges are getting tiresome. Yeah. Our subconscious is getting sick of being tested, being sick of having the tower fall down around them, right? It's really, it's becoming fucking annoying. We're really just sick of it. Yeah. Our emotional bodies don't know how much more this push and pull we can take. Yeah. It's like, I'm really on the verge of giving up when it comes to this, right? But you know what? This is where we need to be, I'm hearing, is it's that phase that sometimes to make the most meaningful change, you have to get sick of your own shit. And that's what this energy is you're sick of your own shit now. And this is your subconscious pushing you to let go truly and surrender, to just relax. Let whatever needs to be. Que sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera. Yep. When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what can I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Yeah, it's like the idea of Venus once went to the high priestess, or the Empress once went to the high priestess and said, what do I need to know? What do I do? Oh my God, how do I deal with all of this? Maybe now the tables are turned, yeah? Maybe now, very interesting. All right. Oh, beautiful. Okay. Let's see what we got. What do we got for this day, the 12th of July? We've got, You've Got the Love. This is the same card that came out yesterday in the live. And this is, the deck has been shuffled several times. Trust me, it's been redistributed. It is very, very much meaning to come out. You've got the love. You've got the love. Say you've got the love. You guys are wholehearted and loving beings, and you're able to shapeshift and put on all these masks. You're like a shaman. You got all this going for you. Hadarian energy, codependency, and boundaries. Remember what I said about boundaries before? Yep. My dears, confirmation of everything that I've been saying, yeah? There's this, like, dualistic energy that we are sitting in, but it makes us uncomfortable. Look at this. It's like I almost get this picture of, like, what show was it? I think it was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer when people turned into vampires, or like when they changed their, like they would have their regular face and they would turn into the whatever supernatural being they were, but they would go through this like almost like the Tasmanian devil, where it's like their face would go all wiggly and then they would come back into focus as whatever mythical creature they were. I think it was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Can't remember. In any case, that's what it looks like. It's like this idea where you're just not sure which face is going to go on. You're not sure what timeline you're going to subscribe to yet. It's not been chosen, yeah, but you're doing all of this through love. You need to sit in this supposing with Katie energy and supposing all these different timelines and putting on these different faces to figure out how they would reflect to where you are now. And maybe, like I said, what advice would that alternate timeline give to the current you, and what would you give to them? All right, and then we have the owl. This beautiful feather. The owl. Your intuition is correct. Follow your inner wisdom without fail. Guys, the owl is all about that intuition. You know what it is. You have cultivated your discernment and you've learned so many new things. So just trust. Now it's time. You've learned to listen to your heart now. It's time to communicate with it. Yeah, remember? With that Mercury coming into Cancer? Yeah, you trust your heart song now. Sing it. Sing it. Yeah, that's it. All right, my darlings. I will see you tomorrow on live for the moon transit through Virgo. That will be the 13th of July, 2021, over on Instagram. Moon Mama Musings on Instagram. Follow me there, like all those whatever stupid disclaimer things I've got to do. If you're not subscribed yet to the channel, please do. It'd be really lovely to have you as a subscriber. Hey, click that little thumb thing. Why not? Yeah, okay, I did disclaimers. I know, I have to do them sometimes. Also, I am still open for personal readings, should you like one. Please, feel free, contact me, reach out, let's talk. Until the next time. All right. I am sorry for anything you're going through. If I've made you feel a certain way, thank you so much for being the beautiful, amazing human being you are and lending your energy to the circuit. I love you to the ends of the earth and to infinity and beyond and back. And I accept this, and I hope you do too. But if not, totally cool, man. You do you. All right. See you tomorrow. Bye.